let me just, why is, start now. So welcome everybody to our first Facebook Live and our live stream from our Zoom recording. Hi everybody on Facebook Live as well. We've got the various screens going and hopefully you can see me and hear me okay. We'll keep all of you on mute for the time being, and what we have for you today is a little introduction to kinesiology, and we're going to be talking about the philosophy of kinesiology and also do a live demo here in the clinic. We'll move the screen down a little bit. We've got a plinth there, everything ready and waiting to go. So thank you all for joining us. If you are on video, you can decide whether you want to stay on video or not. It's your preference. We do have a chat box, so if you have a question, and I'll be checking in every so often on the chat to see if I can answer your questions as we go along. As I said, we're going to do a demo, and we've got Facebook Live, and so very happy to answer questions there. So if you have any comments you want to put in, then Gloria, who's holding the Facebook Live camera, she will be able to check your questions and pose them to me as we go along when I get a moment. So you're all very welcome. I know that kinesiology is often unsure what people kind of know about it, and so I'm going to start from the very beginning and share a little bit about what I've been working in for the last 22 years was when I first discovered and heard the term kinesiology. It is something that has a very unique philosophy and is able to help people with such a wide range of health issues. One of the philosophies that we use is, I don't know if you can see that there, Gloria, that's our MCPE. It's an emotional and chemistry, physical approach to how we work with clients. And it is something that can help people in so many different areas. So one of the things that often determines how we work with clients. Let's say, for example, we're in the mental realm. So you go to a practitioner who has, maybe a friend of yours has depression or anxiety or stresses and different worries. And they say, oh, here's a counselor that you can go to, and then you go to a practitioner, that same practitioner, and maybe you don't get the same help, and maybe that's because your anxieties or depressions or stresses are coming more from the chemistry realm. And so this is where kinesiology can help to really help to fine-tune where your problem is coming from, what the root cause of your particular stresses are coming from. And so that's what I want to kind of demonstrate today, is how we use muscle testing, how we identify what the root cause is, and we'll see how it goes. This is the first time we've done a Facebook Live demo. And so bear with me as we kind of move around and see how we can get on. But we have Gloria here on the phone doing the Facebook Live, and we have Natasha ready to come in and do a little treatment and be the demo. And I will come back and forth onto this computer and answer any questions that you might have. But so I'm just going to maybe get you and Natasha to come and sit on or lie down on the plinth, and we'll get set up. And I'll go over there and show what a kinesiology assessment is. We use muscle testing as a tool to be able to find out where the imbalances are, where maybe a muscle isn't functioning 100%. And when a muscle isn't functioning 100%, then what happens is that we get a weakness in the muscle. And from what we know about kinesiology and all the different areas that it can impact on, we can look to see whether it's maybe an emotional stress, whether it's something going on in their diet. Is there something that a food may be contributing to the reason that muscle is weak? Whether it's we work with the lymphatic system, we work with the whole body, and as well as the acupuncture system. So so I'm keen to get maybe first started with the first demonstration, and I haven't tested Gloria or Natasha in advance, so this will be starting to see and how we work with clients and how we can really find out what is going on. So let me just move the camera down a little bit so that you can see that Natasha is there. Excellent, and we can we can see her okay, and I can get in behind. So hopefully, if I throw my voice a little bit more, you can hear me okay, and that the lighting and everything is fine. You can see Natasha here as well. So one of the things that we do with kinesiology is that we are working with the person, and it is a client-driven therapy. So what I'm doing, what I'm looking to find out is what is her body going to be able to tell me, as opposed to her presenting with a list of conditions and I have an opinion about what might be the cause. So what we do is, we are basically finding out from the client what is out of balance, where is there an under strong muscle, under energized muscle, and then we can, if we have a few of those, we can find out what does her body want me to fix first. And what I love about this priority system is that, again, I might have an opinion, oh, I think this muscle might be more the one to fix first, but actually with kinesiology, you can basically find out from the body, from her. So it's very much, she has all of the information inside, and we're accessing that information through the muscle test. So as you know, if you haven't had kinesiology before, it is definitely something that we're going to be trying to show you as much as possible visually what we do, but also there's nothing quite like maybe going for a test yourself, and even if you're a bit skeptical, it's a good thing to try it out, because it really is another type of language, I'm interpreting the results of the test. So let's see how we're getting on with our test. So I'm going to show you what a muscle test is first of all. I'm going to use this one over here. It's just a straight arm test. This is our anterior deltoid, and so Natasha's going to go up towards the ceiling. I'm going to push downwards, and we're going to meet in the middle. So hold up for me. So that one is nice and strong. You can see that. And again, hold up for me. Nice and strong. But let's see if we go to, if you twist this arm into the side and hold in there, keep that arm nice and straight and push in for me. And actually that one isn't staying strong. So push in again for me, like there's nothing there. I don't know if you can see this side. Let's see, push in for me. If you see that my arm doesn't move, this arm is nice and strong, but that one was really quite clearly weak. So I'm just going to select a couple of leg muscles and see what happens here. So again, if you bend your knee, that's it. And she's going to be bringing this a quadricep muscle, it's usually quite a strong muscle. You're going to be holding your knee towards your shoulder. So hold back for me. So that's nice and strong, doesn't change. And same again and again, hold. Lovely. So they're nice and strong. Let's see if we went to a straight leg test. So this is the psoas muscle. It's often causes or can be a contributing factor to low back pain. And let's see if that makes a difference. So we're going to straight leg up in the air. She's going to twist it outwards, keep it nice and straight if she can. And you're going in a diagonal direction and hold it for me. So that one is weak. And then straight leg, and again, kind of pushing towards me and hold. But that one is strong. So she has a weakness on the left psoas muscle, as it happens to be, and her right, as it happens to be, latissimus dorsi. Don't worry about the Latin names of all our muscles, but it helps us to identify where they are in the body. So we have two muscles that are weak, and as I said, in terms of what we do with balancing those muscles, there's lots of controlling networks that help to strengthen those muscles. We have lymphatic reflexes, all different points. But even from our MCPE point of view, if I come back and just show you this MCPE. This is our backdrop to how we work with clients. On Facebook Live, it's probably the wrong way around. So on the mental realm, we could look to see whether there was a muscle that was sort of, those muscles that are out of balance, was there an emotion, stress that may be impacting on the functioning of that muscle. We could look at nutrition or even water for the psoas muscle, and we can work physically, and this is our symbol for energy as well. And so we'll be working with all of those to help strengthen this muscle. So let me come back over here then. Good. Why is that going to stand up? There we go. All right, so we have two muscles that have shown us to be weak. We've only tested 4. In our usual assessment, we would test at least 14 or 15 different muscles to work with different circuits around the body. But you know, this is a demonstration to give you a sense of what we do here in systematic kinesiology. So the first muscle that we tested was this latissimus dorsi. So we're going to retest it again, and just to confirm that, pushing for me, yeah, she has no strength in that one. And we had our left psoas, so straight leg up again, make sure it's nice and straight, and hold it for me, and that's going weak. When the person maybe bends the knee a little bit, sometimes the body has an innate wisdom that it knows that that muscle is going to test weak, and so we want to, so by bending the knee, it usually sometimes gives a little bit of extra strength. So what would be really nice is to know which muscle is to be balanced first out of those two. And we use different systems of hand modes and ways in which we can determine which is the priority muscle. And so I'm going to ask Natasha to just do the hand mode, which is the third finger halfway down the thumb. Okay. So don't worry about that if you're not, if you haven't done any of our courses yet. That is something that you learn on the Balanced Health course. So we're going to see what happens to the muscle when we hold this mode. So I don't know if you can see there, she's holding the mode, and if you hold in for me and push in, that makes no difference to the muscle response. And what we're looking to do is, you know, the way that the body works is that muscles switch on, and there are times when they need to switch off. So when we walk, you know, there's certain muscles that have to switch off in order for us to be able to move. So a normally functioning muscle will be strong when called upon to work, and will switch off temporarily as well. And so we saw that beautiful use of binary when we introduce other elements. So we've no change in this particular muscle. So let's bring this leg up here, so straight leg, twist outwards. And again, she's still holding the mode, and push up for me. And now that muscle stays nice and strong. And so that's where, you know, she could go around holding this mode the whole time. But now we know through the binary of on or off, or on or off, that we have a muscle that is weak when we're testing it, but it has answered a question, if you like. It's actually said, yeah, this muscle will benefit from some more attention. And so we haven't had to decide, I haven't had to decide which muscle to work with first. Natasha's muscles have been able to give me that feedback. And so it's a very powerful system when you have maybe lots of different problems or issues or symptoms that you don't really know what to do with. That I don't know as a practitioner. This is the only way I know that we can find out how the person wants to be treated, and I think that's very powerful. It certainly makes my job easier to know where I need to focus my attention. So in the Balanced Health textbook, we have we have obviously a lot of information in the book to do with our what we found. We're working with the psoas muscle. It's on the kidney meridian, and we have lots of different reflexes and things that will help to strengthen it. But I want to show you a little bit about what might be involved. This is, as I said, psoas muscle, can be involved with lower back problems. Equally, it can be involved with neck problems. So, you know, sometimes it's about finding, again, where the issues are. We have some water somewhere, yeah, and because the kidney meridian is involved, then it's very useful to see whether water might play a part in the reason that someone has backache. When people have a lot of backache and maybe they drink too much coffee, that can have a weakening effect on a muscle too. And dehydration then plays a key part in helping people with back pain. I don't know, Natasha, do you get any kind of back pain? It's not a major thing for you. So what we'll do is we'll get you to maybe just take a little sip of water, okay, and hold it in your mouth and lie back down again. It's just a small sip of water. And what we're doing is we're going to see if water would help this muscle to stay strong. And so what we're going to do is we're going to retest this muscle and see what impact has the water that she's holding in her mouth had on this muscle. Okay, so you can see how that's now gone nice and strong. If you want to swallow the water, that's great. Let's see whether that had a long-standing effect. And hold up for me. No change. So what we know is though that maybe more water would help Natasha for whatever else is going on with this particular muscle. So we know that we're still in weakness. So we've got the lymphatic reflexes for the psoas muscle, which are just near the navel. So again, I want to check and see whether that strengthens her. And hold up for me. Great. So we know that there's definitely a reason to work on this point. I want to show you that if she touched another random point, let's see if we get a random point over there, does that make any difference to this muscle? And hold up for me. No change whatsoever. So we're working with very specific points that have been researched over the years to be found to be effective at strengthening these muscles. And then the other thing I want to bring in, so we've worked with our chemistry, you know, with the water. We've worked with the physical and energetics with these lymphatic reflexes. And I want to bring in an emotion now. And so this is really a demonstration of how holistic this therapy is, because we're not only working in the, let's pretend that she did have back problems and she came in to see me. We're not just going to, which feels very, you know, when someone says they have a back problem, it feels that a structural approach should be how that back problem is treated. If you have, say, a digestive problem, you might think, oh, I need to go to a nutritionist, I need to find out about the foods that might help my digestion. And what I'm trying to show you, what I'm hoping I'm showing you, is that sometimes there are more elements to a structural type problem that maybe the cause is more the dehydration or maybe even an emotion. And while, you know, Natasha's lying here and I think quietly, you know, maybe she's a bit nervous about what we're doing here live on Facebook and through our webinar. So one of the emotions that goes with our psoas muscle and the kidney meridian is, so you can think of it as stress, or sometimes even to be a little bit more specific, the emotion that's associated with it is fear. And that's just like an overall, you know, we often have, you know, quite, you know, obvious and good fears, but sometimes we have fears that are just our own. So does fear mean anything to you that you can think of, and we can see if there's an association with this muscle? You got something? All right, so now straight leg up again. You got something in mind? Okay, and hold up for me. Okay, and so we can see that that is also relevant to that muscle. So when she doesn't think about that stress now, push up for me, we're back to weakness. Okay, so I think it's time to give this a bit of a balance. I'm going to get you to hold a little bit more water in your mouth, okay? And we'll get you to drink down most of that again. After treatment. So you hold that in your mouth. I want you to think about that fear that you thought about before. And I'm going to rub, if that's okay to rub you here, I'm going to rub the lymphatic reflex for this psoas muscle. So this is part of the treatment. Kinesiology is an excellent way to identify where the practitioner needs to work. If you were a herbalist, there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't add this into your practice, because you could be testing for herbs, where I test for water. Another nutrition that really helps this particular muscle is vitamin E as well. And so anything that you, how does this feel? A bit tender? How does this side feel, where there was no weakness? It's all fine. She can't really speak with water in her mouth. So what we're doing is, we're balancing now. So whereas kinesiology is a very excellent way to identify, uses as, I feel like, as a diagnostic tool, not diagnosing disease, but really finding out what is going on for a person, where their imbalances are, where their system is a little bit stressed. And so we've got front points and we've got back points. I'll just go slightly under the back. I'll just rub that point a little bit as well. Okay, and then I'm going to hold the back of her head, where we have some vascular points that help improve the blood supply to the muscle as well. And what I'm feeling for is I'm just holding these points, and these help to reduce the stress. So you keep thinking about that stress, that fear. And if you need to, you can just swallow that water as well, if that's not so pleasant to keep holding it in the mouth. Okay. And how does that, I'm going to go back to these lymphatic reflexes and just see how does this feel now? It's okay? All right, so let's have a go and see what we've done. Have we done enough to balance this psoas muscle? This is, when I'm working with a client, this is very much about helping them to help themselves. And so, as part of the homework, I would be recommending, my client to rub these points as well, so that, they can continue to balance themselves. Obviously, drink more water as part of the treatment. She could be drinking water and rubbing these points at the same time, and maybe helping with the stress, reducing the stress as well. So let's have a go and let's see how this psoas muscle is doing. So hold it up for me. So that is now strong by itself. She's not doing any funny hand moves. She's got no water in her mouth. She's not thinking of anything else. So that has now gone strong. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to, if you remember, we had another muscle that was weak as well. It just I didn't have permission, if you like, to balance it just yet. So one of two things will happen. We're having balanced this muscle. The energy is now, firing around the body. We have, so that could mean that this muscle is now balanced, or it was an order thing. So now I want this to be balanced, and then I want this to be balanced. And so the only way we'll know is by testing it. So I thought maybe if I come around here, that might be easier for you to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to retest this muscle, okay, and hold in for me. And it's now strong. So what that means to me is that I don't now need to balance that muscle. I don't have to apply any kind of therapy to that muscle, which didn't need it. We were being very specific, but we were able to find out that the psoas muscle was where we needed it to work. And so that really helps to fine tune, it's applying what Natasha needs, not what, and we can find out what's a priority and what's maybe just a compensation, something that's there, but if we got rid of the other problem, it also got rid of that one. And so that's, I think, a very useful tool when working with kinesiology, is that we can be a little quicker, because we don't need to waste time in balancing something that didn't need to be balanced, and we can be very specific about what needed to be balanced. So that is our basic muscle balancing tools. We are, finding where is out of balance and fixing what we can. And we use nutrition, we use emotional de-stressing, we work with the lymphatic points. And so, you know, if you also did reflexology, you could go and work on the reflexology points for the kidney organ. If you're an acupuncturist, you could be working with, you know, be able to fine tune exactly where to use the acupuncture needles. Acupressure, the same thing. And so we work, you know, very much, our muscles are associated with the acupuncture meridian therapy energy, and so that really helps us to bring in a bigger understanding of what's actually happening to a client through a very simple method of, you know, testing muscles and understanding the response that we get. So although the concept is simple and we like to keep it simple, it's not necessarily easy, and it's more than just pushing on an arm. You know, it's like an art to understanding how the muscle feels when we're testing it, and the kind of response that we're getting back. So I hope that made sense. I'm not sure if we have any questions yet on our Facebook Live.
Yeah, we do. We have a great question here from Karen from Dublin.
Mm-hmm.
She just wants to know if kinesiology can help with the sinus problem.
Oh, great question. Karen, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. So absolutely, sinus problems, we have some muscles that are related to the sinus area of the body. So we have some neck muscles. It can be on both the stomach meridian and maybe even associated with the kidney meridian as well. And so when we're looking specifically to find out for sinuses, we would test those muscles, but we would also be looking at our chemistry. So we want to find out not just what will help clear maybe the sinuses, but what might be a contributing cause. Maybe there's a food that might be associated with causing that mucus to form in the first place. We've got some physical restrictions we've got some main lymphatic ducts in the chest, and so that might be a physical restriction to actually draining in a way, and so we've got some techniques to help clear that as well. And of course, stress makes a big difference to all. You know, we are often walking around with our stresses, you know, that could be playing a part. So I'm just going to demonstrate that very quickly about how we saw when we did the psoas muscle that the weak muscle was strengthened by the stress. But I'm going to just show you how a muscle responds like a strong muscle. Say you're walking down the street, or even a great example is when we are working with clients who don't feel so maybe steady on their feet. A great example is, I'm sure you've all experienced when you're walking onto an escalator and you're looking down and it's like it feels a bit nervous trying to get onto those moving steps. So what we're thinking about is often having an impact on our muscles. So I'm just going to show you, I'm going to work with a straight muscle here. We've got what we call is a pectoral muscle. You're going to go towards your head, okay? So hold it for me. So that's nice and strong. But now what I'd like you to do is to think about a stress, something that annoys you, frustrates you, whatever it might be, okay? We're going to retest this muscle. So hold back, you've got that in your mind, okay? And again, hold for me. And that makes the muscle switch off. And so when we are walking around our day, you know, going for a walk and we're thinking about all our stresses, it can have quite a negative effect on the body. And so that can also play a part, you know, with sinuses and things like that. However, you know, wherever the weak areas of the body are, then they're going to be impacted by those emotions as well. Now, the way to get rid of that is a very nice little technique, but hopefully that answers your question, Karen. Any other questions coming in?
We have Mags here, and she's just asking, how often should you go for kinesiology to keep balance, or is it just when you have a problem?
Great question. It is something that is great for maintenance. So what we usually recommend is 3 sessions in fairly quick succession if you've got a you know, physical problem or emotional trauma, stresses, things like that. And so usually 3, 4, maybe 5 sessions over a period of about 4 or 5 weeks. It is very individual to your own circumstances, so that's not necessarily the only way that we would work. Sometimes we might see a client once and then, you know, a month later, but that's something to be discussed with your practitioner. But then maintenance, you know, it's very rare that there's only your major knee problem or back problem or digestive problems are, you know, optimum health is really what we're seeking. And so, yes, absolutely, go for maintenance. There's always something that you can do to help you feel even better. And one of the great things about kinesiology is that while Natasha didn't have backache, this muscle was very clearly weak. And maybe over time, if she'd, you know, been doing something stretched differently, this muscle is needing to be compensated for different areas by different muscles. And so maybe long term it may have caused back problems, and yet now we've balanced it. That's going to help her in the prevention of back problems. As an example, you know, we don't know exactly, but one of those things is that we're able to uncover problems before they become major problems, and obviously that's much easier to fix. So it's a good you know, attitude to have is to say, well, I'm not really needing a balance, but I you know, it's always good to keep health, and so it's great for prevention. Super. Anything else there, Gloria?
One last one. Anne here wants to know if you can test yourself.
Testing yourself. Yes. It's I will say yes, it's a good question, but no, it's actually difficult to test yourself because you're kind of, well, if I try to push on an arm, I can always resist myself. There's sometimes you can see people, you know, test maybe fingers in an O-ring and things like that. But I think ultimately the issue is that you're very involved in the answer. And when I'm working with a client, you know, we have a common goal. I want to help her. I believe I can definitely help people regardless of what they walked in with, because we can help with reducing stress. We can help them in lots of ways. But the perspective of that other person is really important. You know, you're opening up to, you know, different possibilities. And if you're self-testing, then you don't have that other perspective. You've only got your own perspective. And so it's definitely not something that we do as systematic kinesiologists. And as I said, it's very hard to remain in neutral. When I'm testing Natasha, I'm staying in neutral. I'm not thinking about what the outcome is. You know, when we tested those 2 muscles, I had no idea which was going to be priority, if either were even going to be priority. So it's nice to have that neutral mind when you're testing. Okay, super. Okay, I want to just check and see whether we've got some chats in here. Okay, just somebody saying that they enjoyed the seminar. Great. What time are we at? Just at the moment, you might give me a time. Okay, so we're like 35 minutes into this seminar. Oh my goodness. I know that some of you are having your lunch and enjoying eating away. If you have any other questions, we'll continue on. I'm going to show you now what we'll do with that stress that Natasha thought about. Remember when we got her pectoral muscle, I got her to think of a stress, and so I'm going to fix that now. I'm going to help her with that, because that's one of the things that really everyone can take away from on today's call. So just to recap, we have this strong muscle here, and so you're going kind of towards your head and hold. Okay. So now I want you to think about that stress again. Okay, and it's not about being on a Facebook Live. All right, and again, hold back for me. So that makes her muscle go weak. And what we're going to do is one of the most amazing techniques with kinesiology is emotional stress release. Now, Emotional stress release is something that you can do without muscle testing. It's what's important is to know that the person is really thinking and feeling the stress. And that might not be as easy, today, but when someone is really feeling the stress, this is when the effect of the treatment has a huge effect. I suppose, its most powerful effect. But what we do is we hold. I'm hoping that you'll be able to see now on the screen. Laura, you might even come a little bit closer if you like. We're going to hold some points here on the forehead, okay? And you can move her a little bit closer, even just as one close up, and then you can pan back again. Is that you're going to hold these points. That's great. And if you want to take a step back, then. So we're holding these points as Natasha thinks about the stress and thinks about just even the first level of that stress. So if you are feeling stressed at home, in your office, wherever you are, I want you to kind of really get quiet. I want you to really think about that particular stress. I want you to really feel it.
An hour and a half waiting on the ambulance.
Okay, and then you're going to hold those points for a
They
little
find him unconscious.
bit longer. Let me just come on here. You can have mayonnaise or something else. We can't. There we go. We were just making sure everybody was muted. And okay, super. And another couple of questions. Okay, so what we're doing is we are holding here. So Natasha's going to just refocus in, which I know is hard when we're doing a demo and I'm talking, but really feel what that stress is right down there in the stomach. And I'm going to hold these points and I'm going to give them a little bit of a stretch. And what I feel under my fingertips is sometimes a little bit of a like pulsation, the energy moving. It might be slow on one side, fast on the other. Stretching that skin a little bit. So if you want to give it a go. And what this is doing is bringing the blood supply back to the frontal lobes of the brain, which is where clearer thinking happens. When we're under stress, usually the blood leaves there, goes more to the back brain, and we have the same reactions to stress. So really, we should really keep focusing in on that one stress. Sometimes our different stresses will fight for attention. But the more you can focus in on the one until it starts to disappear. And this is, of course, stresses, as I said, could be working, more emotionally, but maybe there's an element of a dietary deficiency, a nutritional deficiency, or food sensitivity. So what we might do next time when we do a Facebook Live and other webinars, I'll do a little demo on food testing, so that you can start to see the potential for working in the chemistry realm. That's kind of the idea, to give you an overview today of how we test and balance muscles, but then also to pick another topic each month where we'll maybe dig a bit deeper on a particular area of our MCPE approach. So how does that stress feel now to you, Natasha? Not too bad. She's a bit scared. All right, so we're going to do is going to test this muscle again, because this was us being able to identify where there was a stress. Okay, so we're going to test this muscle. So nice and strong. Okay, I want you to think about that stress again. If you can remember what it was, think about that stress. You got it in mind? Okay, and again, hold back for me. And now it stays strong. So it's a way to confirm that something has changed. You know, that stress, you know, maybe she doesn't like her boss. So you know, the boss is still going to be here. But it's the reaction to it. And so we've all got things in our lives that can be stressful to us on a daily basis. But it's really how we deal with that, how we react to that is what we're able now to control. So if you want to try it for yourself, I'm just going to do a little bit of a close-up here, is that if we had horns, you know, it would come out of, they come out of here. So we're holding these points. It's a natural gesture. If you were crying, you put your hands here. Lost your keys, you put your hands here. But we don't leave them there for long enough to be able to bring the blood back to the frontal lobes, which are directly behind this frontal bone. So I hope that has been helpful.
So just Anne from Waterford is wondering, she has a lot of stress and has trouble sleeping. Would this help?
Absolutely. If you have trouble sleeping and it's because there's lots of things going round and round in your mind, then absolutely fall asleep holding these points would be a really great way to help yourself. But also, you know, when we look at the emotional side, but we also look at the chemistry side. So maybe a contributory cause to not being able to sleep can be dehydration, or it could even be blood sugar issues too. And so, again, well worth checking out and seeing whether, you know, there's maybe other reasons for sleeping. When you talk to a kinesiologist, we're always thinking about what's the backdrop. You know, our MCPE, is there an emotional cause, or what is the emotional element to it? Is there an energetic cause? Is there a blockage of energy in one of the meridian systems? And which is why, you know, acupuncture works beautifully for some clients and not for others, because if they have an acupuncture problem, well, then going to an acupuncturist may well help. But if there's an element of our daily stress, it's an element, or if there's a nutrition, something from the diet that you're eating every day. I mean, when I first started getting involved in kinesiology back in 1996, I think was when I first started learning kinesiology. 1995, I attended a very interesting presentation with Brian Butler, and he was testing me for, you know, I think I had tiredness. I had very bad skin, really, really bad skin. And you might go, oh, well, I need to go to a dermatologist. I need to go to a skin specialist. But a lot of skin problems can be associated with gut problems. And I was sensitive to wheat and dairy and things like that. And that's ultimately what helped me when I started to look after my gut. That made a huge difference to my skin problems. And also, you know, I didn't sleep very well necessarily as well, whereas I'm a very good sleeper now. So thank you, Anne, for your question about sleep. Absolutely. And all of these things, we're teaching these on the Balanced Health course. We have courses all around the country. We really feel that some of this very simple, straightforward information should be available to everybody. You know, our kids should be learning about how to, you know, feel less stressed. I think they're just getting more and more stressed. The importance of simple water, the importance of eating foods that suit you. And so, you know, maybe, you know, other foods, like sometimes people can't eat potatoes, sometimes people can't eat eggs, and they could be something that you're eating every day. So there's definitely things that are going to help you along the way. So our Balanced Health course, just a little plug for our Balanced Health course, we've got Dublin is starting this weekend. We have 3 locations then starting next weekend. There are last 3 locations for the spring, which is in Waterford, Donegal and Galway. And so places available. And if you just go to KinesiologyZone.com, you'll find all the information as well as on our Facebook page. Some of you are watching through Facebook Live and some of you are on our mailing list already. But everything that you learn, you know, you're going to learn how to do muscle testing, how to identify where a stress might be, where to work with a client, where to rub. You learn all of those things as well as how to reduce your emotional stresses. So everything is immediately applicable and able to do from day one. Can make a huge difference with your family and friends. And if you're already a practitioner, then I hope I've been able to show you how, you know, through the demonstrations about how you could add kinesiology to your skills so that you can maybe offer a different, like if you work with stresses and emotions, and you know that maybe what somebody's eating, what's in their diet could be contributing to their stress levels, then maybe learning the balanced health course will help you to add that skill to your services as well. We have lots of different practitioners who join our courses. I've had physical therapists and physios who work very structurally, work very much with the body, have an amazing knowledge of muscles and how to improve the body. And they also know that a stress, that the divorce that the client is going through, or the money worries, or whatever their long-term stresses are, is playing a major effect. And so by learning how to balance the body in those areas really helps to get your clients getting better quicker, and maybe more, less likely to be injured if they're sports people and things like that. So yes, any other questions, Laura? We're coming to...
We have one maybe last from Sharon. She's suffering dizziness due to stress. Have you any recommendations for her?
Go and see a kinesiologist, or come and learn it for yourself. Dizziness, absolutely. There's going to be imbalances maybe in the neck and shoulders. There could be a contributing cause from the chemistry, from dehydration, but also from dehydration and blood sugar. And so, I would be looking to see how are you doing dizziness? Like, is there an infection? Is there a toxin? Is there an emotional stress, that's a trauma that's underneath that? Or is there some physical imbalances in the neck that could be playing a part? And so that's my answer really to everything, is that for some people it will be working with nutrition, and that will make the huge difference. But this combined, with the more things we can combine when we're treating, like I did with Natasha, we had the water in the mouth, we had the lymphatic reflex, we had the de-stressing points, and that had an effect of strengthening the muscle and helping the body to heal itself. We do have a very strong belief that the body can heal itself given the right circumstances. And so we're removing some of the resistance to the body being able to heal itself by balancing the body and identifying maybe a food that somebody needs to avoid in order for the body to recover. With that in mind, it's really to ensure that they have a full and varied diet. It's not about restriction, but it's maybe finding the one or two things that could be contributing to long-term stress, whether that stress is when we talk about stress, the stress can be emotional. We often think about stress as only really being emotional, but dehydration is a stress to the body. Malnutrition, not eating a balanced diet, or not even being able to absorb all the food that we eat in a way that is nutritious to the body. So it's very individual, and it's very we talk about biochemical individuality, and so everybody is a unique person, and so what is right for one person won't suit someone else. And that's what I think kinesiology is so respectful of, where the person is in their life and in their journey, that we're able to help you where you are. So we are at the 45 minutes, I think. So I am happy to say good afternoon to you all. I hope this has been enjoyable. We would love your feedback. If there's a question that you have, a question or a topic you would like us to go in depth with and demonstrate on here in the office, delighted to be able to do that. And as I said, check out the courses. Learn, a lot of what we do is about self-care. Sometimes it's the hardest thing to do is to look after ourselves. And often in the caring profession, we like to help other people, and we're very passionate about that. As I said, been doing it for 22 years, still love it, probably even more than I did at the very beginning. It never fails to surprise and delight, and I love teaching it. So check out the courses. We have an amazing team of course leaders who are just so excited to be sharing kinesiology around the country, and I look forward to welcoming you onto a course very soon and talking to you maybe next month. All right, thanks a million. Bye now.